Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to provide this Honourable House with a further update on exercise Tradewinds. Honourable members will recall that exercise Tradewinds, organized by the U.S. Southern Command of the United States Military, was a joint international disaster relief exercise in the Caribbean. The 22 countries represented were Antigua and Bermuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Bermuda, Canada, Colombia, Dominica, the Dominican Republic, France, Grenada, Guyana, Haiti, Jamaica, Mexico, the Netherlands, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The exercise was designed to build international regional cooperation in complex multinational security operations, as well as humanitarian assistance and disaster response. Mr. Speaker, Tradewinds Phase 1 was a security-based exercise that took place in the Dominican Republic. Phase 2, which was subject of my update today, was focused on humanitarian assistance and disaster recovery and took place on the island of St. Vincent. Mr. Speaker, the Royal Bermuda Regiment deployed about 120 soldiers from B Company for the exercise. The Royal Bermuda Regiments from the Logistics Company installed a high-intensity security light and at a free public clinic. The clinic had been repeatedly targeted by thieves who stole computers and drugs. Our soldiers cut down the trees that hid the clinic from the nearby road, installed barbed wire fencing, and repainted the building inside and out. The St. Vincent Minister of Health, Luke Brown, thanked the soldiers for their community assistance and outreach. Mr. Speaker, the soldiers assisted the country's forestry department by cutting back trees that overhung an above-ground power cable on La Croix Road in the Mesopotamia area of the country. The Royal Bermuda Regiment donated 30 sets of public order kit, including shields and protective gear, to the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police. Mr. Speaker, this exercise provided valuable training opportunity for the Royal Bermuda Regiments. Our soldiers had the opportunity to work with the Caribbean Task Force and in the headquarters, allowing for the command and control element of the disaster response to be developed. This is essential to our on-island response and operations. The soldiers from B Company worked and formed a subunit of the CTF exercise and their ability to work in tandem with other agencies. This is relevant when Bermuda works along the Bermuda Police Service and other uniformed services. Mr. Speaker, the scope of exercise Tradewinds meant that the Royal Bermuda Regiment worked alongside partner countries and had the opportunity to learn and to form its ability to perform well in an international context. Senior military officers from Canada, the United States, and even Colombia spoke highly of our competency and the professionalism that our soldiers displayed in St. Vincent. The Royal Bermuda Regiment's second-in-command, Major Ben Beasley, said, "The Royal Bermudian has far exceeded his expectations, and they have risen to a level that they perhaps didn't believe they could achieve. Tradewinds not only confirms our capabilities, it has expanded them and demonstrated our regional partners our high level of competency." Mr. Speaker, I had the opportunity to join the Royal Bermuda Regiment personnel in St. Vincent. I, along with the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of National Security, Mr. Colin Anderson. During the tour, we visited the soldiers at base camp and engaged with other regional leaders from various militaries and law enforcement agencies throughout the Caribbean. Our tour of the St. Vincent Coast Guard facilities was a particular highlight. Whilst at the Coast Guard facilities, we were able to gather information that will be helpful as our ministry develops our national security Coast Guard. Mr. Speaker, to conclude the trip, we attended the closing ceremonies for exercise Tradewinds. The Royal Bermuda Regiment's presence and conduct in St. Vincent earned high praise from the acting Prime Minister, Sir Louis Straker, who said at the closing ceremony, honorable mention must be made to the government of Bermuda and to the Royal Bermuda Regiment. Mr. Speaker, the men and women of the Bermuda Regiment represent the best of Bermuda. I was pleased to see them standing as equals among soldiers from largest jurisdictions. I am confident that exercise Tradewinds was not only provided the Royal Bermuda Regiment with valuable security and disaster relief skills, but it also showed the soldiers that the time that they volunteer with the Royal Bermuda Regiment makes a valuable difference abroad and especially at home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.